Hello everyone, this is David Bitton, CEO here at PracticePanther. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today and let you know to please send us any questions you have in the chat and we will cover all of them in the end. We're also going to be recording this webinar so everyone will receive an email afterwards to review it, and we are super excited to have Chelsey Lambert with us today. I'm actually honored to have her on as I've known her for some time now, and she is one of the few incredibly talented people in this industry that probably has one of the best reputations for helping solos and small firms with technology. Everyone knows her, everyone loves her, so Chelsey, it is an honor to have you with us today.
Well, thank you so much, and it's great to be sharing the same city now as I recently moved to Miami, so it's awesome to come by and see your offices and get to know a little bit more about PracticePanther leading up to today's class.
Yes, and I hope to be seeing you more often. So to start things off, you can go to the next slide. I just want to give everyone a little bio about yourself. So Chelsey is a solo and small law firm technology specialist, published author, and CLE speaker. She's worked in all areas of legal technology and marketing, including building products for small law firms. She transitioned into the role of consultant and technology trainer as a practice management advisor for the Chicago Bar Association, and today she lives in Miami and writes for the legal tech blog Lex Tech's Review. So Chelsey, tell us a bit about what we're going to be covering today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to teach today's class because what goes into the session is actually a product of all of the learnings that I have gleaned from teaching solo and small law firms over the course of the last 11 years. And it all started when I was at my computer, working late at night, messing with a document, and it just kept fighting with me and fighting with me and fighting with me. And I got to the point where I think everybody gets to where they are just so frustrated with technology, they want to throw their computer out the window. And it was that moment that like really motivated me to teach this class. So during my time at the Chicago Bar, I would teach this weekly to our members. I've traveled all over the country and delivered this session and a couple of other Microsoft Word sessions for bar associations. And it's one of my favorite classes to teach because I feel like it's a tool that you use all day, every day. And if you can learn just one or two things that make things go a little faster when you're drafting documents or briefs or motions or anything along those lines, then it can really shave minutes every day and hours every week, and potentially, I mean, depending upon how often you use it, you know, over a week or two a year off of that time, which you can then use for things that you love.
Exactly. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get started.
All right, so we're going to dive right in. Now, what makes today a little bit different than some of the traditional sessions is I've got up on the screen here just a quick session description and some of the features that we're going to be covering. I am going to be teaching this live, and it will be recorded, so if you missed something, you can always go back and watch the recording. You can also share the recording with other people in your office or other colleagues that will benefit from learning these features. And so let's jump right into the demo. Now, I'm going to start with a handout that you guys will actually be able to get. David, I'll share this with you, and you can use it with your audience or send it to the audience. This is actually one of my favorite tools. It's a shortcut menu. So for those of us who were used to Microsoft Word Perfect macros, I'm going to start here because this is something that you can print out, double-sided, have in your office. A lot of people actually laminate this document, and it just gives you like some really, really quick and easy keyboard shortcuts. And I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that ran one of the largest consumer law firms in the country, and he actually found that by teaching his staff keyboard shortcuts that they were able to actually save hours every single year. So learning these things not only helps you move a little bit faster throughout the day, but it's just a great resource to have and a great set of skills to put in your toolkit. So these are keyboard shortcuts for almost everything that you do in Microsoft Word. And I'm using this example document because we're going to do a demo of one of my favorite features called Shrink to One Page. So you'll notice in this document that, and this happens a lot when you're using a table or something else, that you have a page that hangs. And for some reason, you can see that the table ends right here. So you can see that square. You can see that I have the ability to change the size of the table. And this could be text. This could be a paragraph. This could be a paragraph where you have, you know, one line that bleeds out into this other section. But for some reason, no matter how many times you hit backspace, you just can't get that other page to disappear. And I'm deleting from the above, and I'm trying to backspace from below, and it's just not doing anything. And so this is an example of some of the stuff we're going to be tackling today. So there is a feature called Shrink to One Page or Shrink to Fit that takes care of this problem. Instead of having to like print or save and eliminate a page manually, you'll notice up in the top left-hand corner that I have the Shrink to Fit option in my Quick Access toolbar. Now, I'm going to show you how to add features to this Quick Access toolbar, which is a menu that you can actually use to save all of the most important and critical and most frequently used features in Microsoft Word so that they're accessible to you. One of the challenges that we have with Microsoft Word is that there are literally hundreds of features that are not available in our regular menus. Shrink to Fit is one of them. So I'm just going to click this right here, and now it's eliminated that page below. And that will stay that way until I do something with the document that extends it onto that other page. Now, where do you even find this feature, and how do I add it to my Quick Access toolbar? So first I'm going to remove it, and you can see right here it's just easy to remove. So if you have anything up here currently that you don't want, we'll just remove that. Now, how do you add features and where do you find Shrink to Fit? I'm going to go into Customize, and anytime, just as a quick tool tip, anytime that you have a menu where you see a line or you have an icon where you see a line with an arrow underneath it, that is an expandable menu. The same thing for each of these squares that you see in each of the menu sections. So for those of us that have been using Microsoft Word since forever ago, this is where all of those hidden features are found. So line numbering and paragraph spacing and things like that are not visible in these top level menus. You actually have to expand into these advanced menus to find those features, which is exactly what's happening in this top left-hand corner. So I'm going to say Customize Quick Access Toolbar, and here you have these options, and I really encourage everybody to build out their tool set in this top left-hand corner, because if you actually measure the amount of time that it takes you to move your mouse within all of the different menus, find the tool that you need, and then do that repetitively over the course of the day, a week, or month, it adds up over time. So you can add new documents, you can add open documents so that you don't actually have to go down into those menus or back into the main menu of Microsoft Word, print previews, spelling and grammar check, drawing tables, all kinds of things. You can actually add any feature in Microsoft Word to this Quick Access toolbar. So to find the Shrink to Fit option, we're going to say More Commands. Now, right away, what you're seeing here is massive amounts of features, right? I mean, this is just the popular ones. And these are the most popular commands that you can pick and add to your Quick Access Toolbar list, which is on the right-hand side. The right-hand side here is what I currently have. And I'm going to go to More Commands. So to find that Shrink to Fit, we're going to go all the way down into All Commands. And now it's given me every single command in Microsoft Word. We're going to scroll down. Luckily, it's in alphabetical order. So we are going to scroll down. Until we find it, which we're getting close.
And by the way, Chelsey, I want to ask you a quick question. So that shortcut list that you had up, is there a list as well for Mac, or is it pretty much instead of Control, just use Command? Is it the same?
You use Command. You use Command, correct.
Okay, got it.
And you will get a copy of that to share with the audience afterwards.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And just for everyone listening, you are free to ask questions throughout the webinar. Some we'll get to in the webinar, some we'll get to after the webinar. So in GoToWebinar, you can have that chat box or question box, and feel free to ask as many questions as you want, as we're going to stay afterwards and answer all of them for you.
Awesome. Okay, so here it is. It's shrink one page, and that's what it looks like. You can see where it has multiple pages shrinking down into one, and I'm going to add that. Now, before we leave this menu, I just want to point out the one above and the one below that are also really, really great to have in your law firm's quick access toolbar. It's the signature line, so you can actually generate a formal signature line. I cannot tell you how many documents from law firms I have opened where you have held the shift key down and basically just used the underscore to create a signature line, which is problematic because when somebody starts typing text or when they actually go to use an electronic signature tool, it doesn't always recognize it. So you can even put the automatic signature line up into the quick access toolbar, which I'll do for demonstration purposes later on in today's session as well. So, and then another great one is the shrink font by 1 point. So give this menu a look through because there might be features in here that you find really valuable or that you missed from previous versions of Microsoft Word or even WordPerfect that you'd like to have available to you. So I've added shrink one page, and I did that by just simply clicking on the tool and saying add. And the same is true for what you want to remove. So you can remove any of these existing items by simply clicking on them and saying remove. So once you're done, you will say okay in the bottom right-hand corner. And now I've added the shrink to fit and that awesome signature line, which we're going to use a little bit later in today's course. So those are two tools that come in very handy over the course of drafting documents, and especially when you don't want to be printing extra pages. So shrink to fit, and then that signature line, which we'll touch on a little bit later. So David, you'll get a copy of this document. For the next section of today's presentation, I'm actually going to jump over into a partnership agreement. Now, this partnership agreement is something that is coincidentally available in the Microsoft Word template library. The reason why I picked this particular document is because we're going to be jumping into format management and quick parts. Two tools that are going to save you a ton of time and energy. Now, when you are working within a document, whether this is something that you have created inside the firm, or maybe that you have found through an online source, or that another law firm has sent you, or you carried over from the last firm that you were with. What happens a lot of the time with formatting issues is that we have a document, and it's actually made up of two layers. The reason why Microsoft Word formatting issues occur is because there's two layers of information. The layer that we see in front of us right now, which is the pretty one that comes out when we print a piece of paper, and then the other one that has actually underlying code underneath the document. That's where all that nasty metadata lives, which I'll show you actually how to clean at the end of today's session, where the comments, track changes, and all the archived information of the history of the document exists. And it's also where those formatting problems come from when you do things like copying text from a document into the existing one that you're working on, or from the internet into, or your browser into that existing document. It brings all of that nasty code that lives underneath, which is why sometimes you'll have a paragraph that decides to dance all the way over to the right-hand side of the page, and it just will not cooperate with you, or the font just keeps changing on its own. Crazy things happen, and how you actually remove that is very simple. I like to call this feature the magic eraser. And I call it the magic eraser because it feels like it erases all of my problems. If only there were like something like that in real life, it would be really fantastic, but unfortunately there's not. I wish. So the magic eraser, you highlight a section of text that's giving you trouble, And up here in your main home menu, which is where all of the majority of your formatting tools live, is an A with a pink school eraser over it. And it's called Clear All Formatting. But I call it the magic eraser because no matter what nasty code is living underneath it or that's been copied from another source, it's going to bring that text all the way down to the base of what your Microsoft Word defaults are. And I'll explain what a Microsoft Word default is when we get into using styles later in today's session. So you'll notice that I have erased all of that formatting. And now it's given me the ability to come in here and change the text if I'd like, or return it to the format or font that my law firm uses. Now, what happens if I have copied, let's say, half of a contract or agreement or a brief into a document, and now the bottom does not match the top? You can do the same thing with the format painter. So in the case of applying formatting, because what we did is we just erased, and I'll go through that one more time. So to erase formatting, you simply highlight that section of text that's giving you trouble or that you want to return down to its most basic form. This is very, very helpful if, let's say, that you have bullets or numbers that just will not match up and are giving you a ton of problems. This is really, really helpful for situations like that. You highlight those, and we'll even highlight two just so that I can show you. And we'll say magic eraser, clear all the formatting. And so now those two sections have been erased. And now you'll notice, which especially when dealing with legal documents or line numbering, the numbers are now skipping that section that does not have any formatting. So how do we apply that number formatting, the font formatting, without actually having to go in and say, okay, I would like this to be this particular style. I don't want to have to take the time to do that. And that's really where a lot of legal teams get slowed down, is that by not understanding the proper formatting tools in Microsoft Word, we spend so much time highlighting each one, selecting the font, selecting the size, selecting the color, and individually mapping all of those things when we can actually do it all at once. So what I'll do is I'm going to highlight the format that I want to paint. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I would like to take this formatting as if it were a paint color on your wall, and I want to paint this other section of text with this formatting. Now you can access the format painter either with this quick menu right here. It's this cute little paintbrush. Or you can go back up into the left-hand corner and turn on format painter. Now, notice in my quick access toolbar and in my home menu, format painter is illuminated. When I bring my cursor over into the text section, you'll notice that it now appears as a paintbrush. So any text that I paint with this cursor is going to be have the formatting applied as what I had selected above. And so now not only has it applied that formatting, but it's also adjusted the numbering scheme as well, matching it up with the numbering scheme below. So I can do that again by simply turning Format Painter back on because this is still highlighted, and highlighting that next section. So I can continue to do this throughout the entire document, and it will save me a tremendous amount of time just in the overall formatting of copying and pasting text and then trying to match it to what's above. Instead of going into each of those menus, simply erase the formatting with that format eraser and then paint it with the formatting that you would like to see, and we'll go through that one more time. So I'm going to erase the formatting below. I'm going to highlight the formatting that I want to see and paint it on to the section that I would like changed. And it's that simple. I highly recommend these two tools for any situation that you have where it's a lengthy document. You have, clause after clause after clause, or section after section, possibly bullet points or numbers, which always seem to get skewed when you copy and paste them from one document into another. Just bring that all the way down to its base and then apply the formatting, and it will match up accordingly. So we're going to jump from here into Microsoft Word Quick Parts. And Microsoft Word Quick Parts is probably one of my favorite tools in business. I was fortunate enough to actually learn this from a teammate of mine way back in like 2008, and I have thanked her for it ever since, as have the attendees of my classes, because it's just one of the most brilliant and easy to use tools. We talk in the legal industry a lot about document assembly and automation. And whether you go to great lengths and create your own forms, there are ways to partially automate your documents, your templates, your documents, your letters, your contracts, your agreements, without actually having to go through the process of implementing full-blown document assembly. And QuickParts is really kind of like the beginner's stepping stone into what having templates and documents would feel like for your law firm. I'm going to keep this agreement open for this demonstration. We're going to do this agreement, and then we're going to do a letter. And I'm going to demonstrate QuickParts. Now, for anybody on today's call who is not familiar with your menus, this is your home menu, which includes styles and anything related to text formatting, paragraphs, just everyday kind of content management. Then we get into specialty menus such as insert, which is where tables, cover pages, blank pages, pictures, shapes, all kinds of fancy stuff that you can insert into the menus exist, including that magical signature line that I put up into the top left-hand corner. I'm going to go over that in just a little bit. This is where you would insert anything, including date and time stamps, or specialty comments, headers and footers, text box, and where QuickParts lives. So when you're inserting something into the document, it's going to be coming from that insert menu, and then we'll get into some of the other tabs in a little bit. So inside that insert menu, you're going to come all the way over to the right-hand side. And I'm going to give you a brief overview of QuickParts before we begin. Notice that I have a few things already in my library. QuickParts, at its most basic definition, is a library of your most commonly used text, your address, your signature line, the introduction of a letter, your signature on a letter, language that paralegals would use when speaking to a client, the disclaimer that goes on the bottom of an email or a document. These are the types of things that you can put into QuickParts and use on an ongoing basis. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to build this library and then generate documents in seconds instead of having to go back and recreate something. One of the biggest mistakes that is seen in law firms' draft documents is going back and reusing something that had been used for a particular client that still included their name or their information, and someone along the chain of creating it forgot to do a search, or maybe the search and replace didn't actually find their information. So that document gets filed, or the clerk looks it over and finds a piece of information that's outdated. So by creating this QuickParts library, you can create a set of the most commonly used text, paragraph, clauses, addresses, so on and so forth, without having to worry about it still having an old client's name in there. It will live in Microsoft Word until you physically delete it out. So to begin, I'm going to highlight the section that I want to save to my QuickPart library. Now that I've highlighted this particular section, I'm going to go up and open QuickPart. I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to say Save Selection to QuickPart Gallery. Now, I like to label my building blocks, as they're called, because they build parts of a document. And I'm just going to give it an agreement prefix here. So agreement formation, I'm going to keep it in my main gallery, which is my QuickParts gallery. You can actually add categories here. So if I wanted to really dive all into QuickParts, I could create one that said agreements. I could create another one that said letters. I could create another one that said signature lines and addresses and clients and all kinds of things. Don't go crazy. Just get used to using this on a regular basis. So I'm going to keep it in general. And then I can give it a description if I'd like. Okay. And I'm going to say okay. And so now I'll go ahead and I'm going to grab the name, go up into Quick Parts Gallery, and there's that formation clause that was just saved for me. Save with that same format. Okay, and let's do perfect. We'll just do a few of these so that I can show you what it's like to actually build the document. Valuation, always very important. Okay, and then we're going to go up, and for the sake of creating something new without a ton of work, I'm also going to save this title. So it jumpstarts even how the document is laid out and formatted for me. And I'll say save. And then let's do one more. We'll do capital accounts. And I'll say save. Now, all I need to do is create a new document, go into my insert menu. Notice I haven't even saved this document yet, and I can start building my agreement. So there's our title, and all I'm doing is opening up Quick Parts. Let's go ahead and add formation. Let's go ahead and add name, valuation, capital accounts, and we'll wrap things up with a signature line. Now, before we do signature line, you can approach that in one of two ways. In the previous document, this had a very complicated signature block because we have multiple partners, which Quick Parts has no problem handling. If I wanted to do a 4-line signature block, I could go back to that document, save that selection, as 4 partners, or, and we'll just use this as a demonstration. Let's say that I want a really clean signature line. Right next to Quick Parts, we're going to drop that signature line in. Now, a couple things to note here. If you use Microsoft Word's e-signature tool, you can put an address in here and it will actually go out and ask for a signature via electronic signature via email. I do not have that feature turned on in my Microsoft Word account because I use an online signature tool that integrates with some other software that I have. So that is going to be left blank. I'm going to say okay. I can also show the sign date in the signature line if I choose to. So I'm going to uncheck that, and I'll say okay. And now what that has done is that has created a very clean, ready-to-go signature for me with my title every single time I need it. So I'm going to add this selection to Quick Parts. Okay. And now when I hop back over to that other version, I have the choice in my Quick Parts library, and it's in alphabetical order, by the way. That's how that's organized. I have a choice to either do that signature line I just created, which is even faster because now I don't have to fill that form out, or I can add that 4-part signature line. Oh, and we have a little bit of bleed over here. So I'm just going to use that shrink to one page, and it fixed that problem for me too. So that has been an overview of quick parts, format eraser, format painter, and I'm going to go into a couple more ways that you can use the quick parts library. David, if we have any questions about quick parts, I can take a pause right here and take them.
Yes. We do have one question from Nancy. It's actually quick parts on a Mac is not called quick parts. I believe it's called, well, I've been doing some research, so it looks like it's called auto text. So from what it says online, it says in Microsoft Word, you have to select the text or graphic, and then under insert menu on top, click auto text, and then click new. So that's what it says, and I'll be posting this answer on the questions so you can all see it as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Yeah, and one quick thing for everyone, we have actually a few viewers on Facebook now, so if you're watching on Facebook Live, the quality doesn't seem too great, so just give me a second. I'm going to fix it in just a minute. All right, keep going, Chelsey. You're doing great.
Excellent. Awesome. Okay, so this has been how to use quick parts for a agreement. We're going to jump over into how to use it for a letter. I'm opening up a standard letter template, and this is something where I encourage law firms to use quick parts, you know, especially this is, like I said, the stepping stone towards something like document assembly or document templates for your firm. And there is just one caveat. Unfortunately, you cannot share your quick parts library with anyone else in your firm. You do have to build them individual to each person's account. So everybody would have to actually open the documents and save them. It does take a couple of hours to set up, but you eliminate a lot of those potential errors by having everybody operate with the same library and build documents with the same library. So quick parts can also be very, very effective. I'll enlarge the text on my screen so everybody hopefully has a good view now. In letters and email correspondence. So my colleague that actually taught me about quick parts for the first time was using it in email because we found ourselves working with our law firm clients so often sending the same email over and over again, giving them updates on a particular product or a feature or an event that was coming up or something that we needed them to do. So what we ended up doing is we ended up taking those emails, and it was faster for us to create them as Word documents in quick parts with the information that we needed and then copy and paste them into our email without having to do a lot of that work. Now, Office 365, if you're using Outlook on the web, now Outlook on the web has email templates, which I encourage everybody to check out. If you're still using Outlook locally, then this is a way that you can build out emails that you would send, like appointment reminders or letters that need to go out to clients without having to reformat them every single time. So I have a standard letter. This is a reminder email for a family law client, something that we send out pretty frequently, or that you would send out pretty frequently. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim up a little bit of the formatting here. So if you've ever wondered how to shrink the space between standard, just format lines of text, you can highlight that and then go into your line spacing options, and you can say remove space after paragraph, and you'll notice that that's eliminated and it's nice and tight and concise there. We'll do that with the address below as well. And so now I'd like to save the portions of this letter to my quick parts library so that anytime I have an appointment reminder for a family law client, I don't have to type this out every single time, and I also don't have to rename it. Now, a couple of things when you do this is you want to put reminders in here for yourself and your staff to make sure that things get changed. And the reason that you want to do that is because that eliminates any potential error. It would be better that a client got something that had, it wouldn't be good in any regard, but I would rather have somebody receive something that had a template field in it than the name of the other client that I worked with an hour beforehand. So just little things that you can do to eliminate errors and account for that, you know, human factor when you're building your Quick Parts library. So I'm going to start with our address. I'll say Insert, Quick Parts, Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. And at the beginning, I'm going to put a letter caveat on here. Okay. And then I'm going to use this first section. I can actually take the date out and add a section for date here, or if you want to get really fancy, go up to the right, back next to our Quick Parts option, and insert a date and time, and it will give me options here on how I want it to look. So I'm going to pick the full date, only in the bottom right, say Update Automatically, and then say OK. Now, you'll notice that that section is gray, and it stays gray because this is an automated field. So I'm going to highlight this entire portion of the letter, not the signature line because it might not be sent from me, it might be sent from someone else. And now I'm going to say, Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Header, and then first appointment. And we'll say OK. And now that signature block at the bottom, Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Okay. And you do have a character limit here. Just so I'm kind of almost up against it right now, but you do have a character limit here in this section. And as you build this out, like I mentioned before, you can create categories. You could have a letter category, you could have an agreement category, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. And we'll say OK. So now that I have saved that and everything is in alphabetical order in my account, I'll just say File, New, and we'll start building. So main address, and this you can see is getting a little long. So that would be a reason why you would want to start to break these apart into different categories. So I'm going to add the main office address. I'm going to type in my client's address. That will be different every time. Now I'll go down and fix that paragraph spacing. And we'll insert the rest of the letter. And now if it were Friday, June 30th, that would automatically be changed for me. So you can quickly build that out. We'll add our signature line at the bottom to wrap this up. And there's our letter. So within just a few seconds, we have been able to recreate something that we would send to clients over and over and over again. Now, if you would like to add your logo at the top, you can go into Insert, which is that same menu that Quick Parts is in, and say Add a Header at the top. Insert your logo here. You can either type your law firm information, or if you've ever wondered how to insert a logo into your header, you simply say Insert Pictures and grab it from your library. Really, really simple, really easy to do. We'll go in and we'll just add that right there. And you can either keep it there, or another quick tip is if you've ever played with a picture and it just will not go where you want it to go, you can choose this option second over from the left, which is tight, which basically allows you to move it wherever you want, and you see the anchor that's happening there. Now it's going to wrap text anywhere I want to around that logo. So if you've ever wondered, especially when pictures are giving you a hard time, or you have copied and pasted a screenshot or something from the web into a document, and that picture is just fighting with you and text is like wrapping all over the place, you can use these tools. That's what this layout option menu is for, and you can say move with text or fix the position on the page. If you choose fix position on the page, it will stay exactly where it is, and everything else will move around it as the text moves. So that's just a quick how to insert a logo onto into a footer, or I'm sorry, into a header. It works the exact same way with a footer. So there's quick parts, creating a letter. We have a couple more things to cover in today's session, which I'm going to get into next. If anybody has any questions, you can enter them into the chat box. We'll have some time for Q&A at the end. I'm going to leave this document, and I'm going to go into the styles and templates portion of today's session. So Microsoft Word styles are one of the most powerful tools that you can use. I know I've said that like multiple times on today's class, but they really, really are, for a couple different reasons. Using styles, which is located in your home menu, fourth menu over from the left, we have clipboard, font, paragraph, and styles. You have the ability to set up the styles for your law firm and create templates. So by taking the time, which is really only about 20 minutes, we're going to do it in less than that, because if you miss something, you can go back and watch it over again. But it takes about 20 minutes to really dive into this and set up how you want your fonts to look. So when I talk about having to go back into the menu every single time that you want to change a font and looking for something, and not just that, creating basically a set of stationery for your law firm so that everything leaves your office looking the exact same way. For any business, it makes it look incredibly professional. Instead of having to train your staff on, what styles and fonts and headers and everything should be used, you can actually create templates that govern these things for you automatically. So this is a template that I have been using for years. And as you can see, I have a very definitive font for my header. And this color scheme is a little weak, so I'm going to change that. When you use styles, you can change the entire document in just a few clicks. You don't actually have to go through each section. And you can tell that you're using styles and headers properly because you can see these arrows appear on the left-hand side. So when I hover over this section, the arrow appears on the left-hand side. When I hover over this section, it appears on the left-hand side. And what that does is it's like a mile marker for Microsoft Word. This tells Microsoft Word that this particular style should be used, that there's a heading associated with it, and it also governs being able to create a table of contents. So, and the colors of the document, what's included in the document, I can see all of these different things or sections. So to give you an example of how powerful styles are, if I go into the Design tab, you can see that this color scheme is a little weak, it's a little hard to read. So I want to change it. Now, if I weren't using styles, I would have to go to each individual section, I would have to highlight every single one, and I would have to go back, pick the color, change it, so on and so forth. It would take forever. But because I'm using styles, this is what I have the ability to do. I can go into the Design menu, I can go over to Colors, and I can say, make it blue, make it green, make it blue and green, make it orange, make it teal, make it whatever color that you want, and it's going to automatically change the entire document for me. And so now everything has been changed. And when I return to my home menu, you'll notice in my styles menu, all of those have been changed too. So you have this beautiful toolkit where if you use styles appropriately, it will not only save you formatting time, but you can see that the entire document changed. So how do we go about setting that up? First, you go over to your styles menu, and you can either do this with an existing document or you can do this with a blank document. I've seen people do it both ways. I'm using an existing document so that you can see things change right before your eyes. Let's say that I want a certain set of fonts. Microsoft Word comes with a set of styles, and this is what the styles menu looks like. I have it expanded here. I have a normal font. I have a no spaces font. I have a heading. I have a heading number 2. I have heading number 3. I have title. I even have something for quotes, emphasis. I can even do paragraphs. Anything that I can imagine, I can build in my styles menu. And I would encourage you to start with maybe like 3 to 5, you know, a normal style for your body paragraph, a title style, and a heading. And what you do is you come into your styles menu, and you can see that just by clicking on that, that section was changed, which I'll undo because I'll show you how that works. This is the section that is associated with my normal style. This is my normal body paragraph style. If I right-click on this, all I have to do is say modify. And I can change this to be anything that I want. I could say body text, and I can change everything from the paragraph spacing to the font, the size, the color, and then literally anything that you could imagine within paragraph spacing or styles or numbering is going to be included in this menu. Now, I have every intention of turning this into a stationary template for my firm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new documents based on this template, because I'm not just going to show you how to set up your styles. I'm going to show you how to create a template that can be used by every single person in your firm that you could actually email out and say, save this in your Microsoft Word account or save this on your computer, and every time you create a new document, I want you to use this template. And they will never have to change formatting, they will never have to change fonts, they will never have to change any of that. So I'm going to go ahead and call this body text, and then select new document based, oh, and I already have something by that name, so we'll keep it at normal. You can't have 2 styles with the same name for everybody listening. So new documents based on this template. The difference between this is that I am creating this for future use. So if you say only in this document, it's only going to apply to this document. If I were to go back and open up that partnership agreement, it would have the partnership agreement font. I want this to be a master template for our firm. So new documents based on this template, I'm going to say okay, and I'll go ahead and I'll modify our heading style. New documents based on this template, does everything look good? Yes, I want to keep those all the same. I'm going to say okay. Heading 2, new documents based on this template. Title, new documents based on this template, and automatically update. Okay. And so on and so forth. And you can go through, we won't go through every single one of these today, but you can also create them from scratch. You can also apply styles, so you select a portion of the document and apply a style. So let's say that I wanted to change this portion. I could change that to be a header. I could change that to be no spaces. And so this is really where you start to save a ton of time. So if you have an address block, you set up an address block style. If you have a line numbering or bulleted paragraph, you set up a bulleted paragraph style. And then you're just highlighting. You're not going through the trouble of having to move through all of these individual options at the top. So now that we've set up our styles, I'm going to show you how to save this as a Microsoft Word template and pin it to the home page of your Microsoft Word account. You go back to your File menu. So I'll say File, Save As, and instead of it being a Word document, you're going to say Word template. And I'm just going to hang on this screen so everybody can see this just for a second. I'm also going to change the name to Master document template, Word template, and I'm going to say save. Now, when I say File, New, when I go into Personal, here is my master document template. Now, this is a menu that a lot of people don't actually end up using. They hardly ever go in here. Now, as you can see, I've created all kinds. I've created agreements, I've created letters, I've created all kinds of things. So I'm going to pin that, and all that I did was go back and say master document template. Oops, sorry. Say new master document template. And there is my brand new document complete with all of those same styles. Now I left this text in here to show you the styles. You can erase all of the text when you set these up, so you could actually create a brand new document. Let's actually just do this. We'll erase everything and say File, Save As. Save that as that template. And if now we're a good time for your computer to freeze, that would be it. There we go. And then when we say new, we'll go back into personal. And there is the blank one. Hold on one second, guys. There we go. Yep. So that's the blank one. We had a little computer hiccup there. Give me one second.
And while you're looking for it, by the way, just to bring this up, actually, Nancy mentioned, so I figured I should mention it also. Thank you, Nancy, for this. In PracticePanther, while we're on the topic of templates, you can actually create a document template. So you can upload your Microsoft Word template to PracticePanther. Let's say it's a retainer agreement, and then anytime you want to generate retainer agreements for your clients or matters, you can automatically generate the document that will automatically fill it in with your client's name, phone number, address, case number, any details or custom fields that you want. So it could save you even more time, just like you're doing now. And I love this. I love this idea. I'm gonna for sure start using templates more often now.
Well, thank you. And there's the blank one. I do love PracticePanther's automated, document tools, especially when you're merging information. So there's the blank one there. Put it back into featured, and now here's the master blank template with the styles. If you have a chance to use the built-in document assembly tools that are included in the PracticePanther system, that gives you the ability to merge all of those custom fields and case-specific information, client information, and generate those letters and templates. So if you have the time and can invest in that, that is even faster than what you're seeing in Microsoft Word. These are simple things that you can use over the course of every day. Kind of the holy grail, or where you want to get as far as technology is concerned, is actually using and leveraging all of that information that you're putting into your case management system. So this is a completed template, and we'll wrap up with how to save to PDF and remove metadata from a document. So I'm going to go back into my partnership agreement. And we're going to go through, this is always an interesting piece of the course to teach, because metadata is often misunderstood, and I have seen so many attorneys print out and then scan back in documents because there was a misunderstanding that that's the way that you remove metadata, and there's actually built-in tools. And when I talk about metadata and the code and all the information that lives underneath the Microsoft Word document, that refers to things like authorship and comments. So if you're negotiating a merger and acquisition, or you're negotiating child custody, or you're doing anything where there have been comments on the document made by various people or various parties that you would not want seen, and just as a best practice should be removed, Microsoft Word actually comes with a standard inspection tool that will do that for you. So you can say File, Inspect Document. And this will take us into the metadata tool, and it's giving me a warning. It's saying, hey, I'm going to remove this information, so are you really, really sure that you want to do this? And you might want to save a copy ahead of time. And so it'll bring this up, and what it's doing is it's showing you all of the different categories of the information that you can remove, and it says inspect. So you're going to leave all of these checkboxes filled. It automatically checks all of them for you. You'll say inspect. And now it comes back and it returns what it has found, which it will give you a list of things on the right-hand side here. I have not circulated this for track changes. So it would say comments, revisions, versions, annotations. Comments and track changes were found on the right-hand side, and there'll be a little alert screen. I can go ahead and say re-inspect, and it will take me back through that process one more time. And now if I'm happy with the return results, which is that there is nothing else, no items were found, no items were found, nothing was found here, 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 or here, we can go ahead and close this document out. I'm going to show you what it looks like on another one of these documents just to give you an example. Inspect document, inspect. And now here you can see document properties, author, related dates, content type. It found some XML data. It found header and footer information that had been changed. So it's giving me the option to remove all of these. So I want to remove all, remove all, remove all, and then re-inspect. And that's going to come back clean. So no items were found, no items were found. So all of these things were found. And you can run this over and over again as many times as you need to feel comfortable. Close the document, reopen it, run it again. Depends on the level of sensitivity and severity of what is inside. And then we'll close this out. And to finish it, we will save as a PDF. So a lot of times you think that you have to like print the PDF. Microsoft Word has a built-in tool where you can actually save as PDF. And now it will have created that PDF for me, and it'll be saved in the folder. And I can even give it a new name if I would like. We're going to save this as a PDF. And I will save this in.
And while you're doing that, some people have been asking questions on how to do Document Inspector for Mac. So in the GoToWebinar chat I just answered, Dan actually, there's a link online. You can just type in, if you want, you can just go to Google as well and type in Document Inspector for Mac, and you'll find how to do it there as well.
Okay, and I'm going to pull up this PDF. And there we go. And that brings us right to the top of the next hour. We have some time for questions. I know, Dave, that there have been some. We've covered a lot of ground today, and appreciate you recording this in case anybody wants to go back and look for things that they saw.
Okay, awesome. Well, amazing, Chelsey. That was awesome. Thank you so much again. So yeah, just to say what Chelsey said, basically, we're going to open it up for questions now. So if anyone has any, feel free to comment on GoToWebinar, or if you're listening into Facebook, you can message us there as well, and we will answer the questions. The first question comes from Jan. If you get an unformatted document, is there an easy way to convert it to formatted?
So if you get an unformatted document using styles, like, and I'll just bring this up, you can go into the document and hit Control-A, which will then highlight everything. You can remove any of that existing formatting if there is some lingering stuff, but the fastest way to format a document is going to be styles, is to go through and use those styles, because I can just go in and add formatting. You can also hold your Control key down to do multiple sections of text at one time and then add that heading. So I'll go through that again real quick. In an unformatted document, you can use styles and then highlight while holding your control key down. Pick your style or your heading, and that's the fastest way you're going to have to format. One advantage of using styles that I actually didn't cover that I'll just demonstrate really quick is that then you also have the ability to do a table of contents. So when you use headings specifically, you can go into references and say table of contents, automatic table. And it just took all of those headings and added a table of contents, which is now clickable as well. So even when you turn this into a PDF, you look like a total rock star if you insert a table of contents at the beginning, especially really long documents. By using those styles, you've basically created a map inside the document that works on any operating system where they can click through the document based off of that initial table of contents. So using styles to govern that formatting and then saving people a lot of time in lengthy documents by inserting that table of contents that will jump them right to that section.
Awesome, thank you. What a good answer. So the next question comes from Jennifer. She asked, what's the best way to add PDFs or of actual signatures for letters I send out so she doesn't have to sign each one? So is there any tip on inserting actual signatures on letters?
Oh my goodness, there is a fantastic video. Catherine Sanders Reach at the Chicago Bar Association actually created a how-to video on how to create a signature and insert it into documents. It's on YouTube, and like thousands and thousands of people have watched it. I don't even bother trying to teach that because she's like the master. If you ever have a chance to take one of her classes, please do. She's incredible and a great mentor and friend to me. So check that YouTube video out. It's how to create a signature. And if you can't find it, David, then I'll send it to you after the session. But that will give you like a step-by-step on how to do it.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking for it. I can't find it, but I'll send it to everyone afterwards as well. The next question comes from Nancy. This is actually an interesting question. Are lawyers still using Times New Roman 12 font? Is that still the standard for contracts, letters, and everything like that?
So it depends on the version. That's an interesting question. It depends on the version. If you're using an updated version of Microsoft Word, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to say new. Calibri is one of the newer, fonts. So depending upon what version, if you haven't updated your Microsoft Office and you're still running like 2003 or earlier, which I kind of gasped at but still see, then those legacy fonts are still going to be in there. For the most part, we're seeing Calibri Light and Calibri. If you're looking for something like Times New Roman, this Bell MT is pretty close. Every once in a while, I'll also see Georgia or Cambria. But for the most part, we went from Times New Roman to a phase where I feel like everyone was using Arial, and now we've landed on like a lighter balance of Calibri. And then a web font that's pretty popular is like Helvetica and some other ones. So fonts have evolved. So if they're using an updated version, then it should be, the default would be Calibri, which is always going to be located, if you're wondering what your defaults are, it's in your style. So it's going to default those automatically for you in your Microsoft Office account.
Okay, awesome. And next question comes from Tonya. Can you show us format painting with auto numbering where there's no headings as you showed in the partnership agreement example?
Oh, that's a tough one. Okay, yeah. Let's do that. All right, so auto numbering, no auto numbering. We're going to get rid of this. And let's just ignore what the content is, because I know this isn't going to be typical of what you, without the header. So we just pulled down, I had this as my standard numbering. I highlighted that section. So let's say we're going to do Roman numerals. And notice, because I'm using a styles document, it's saying, oh, hey, do you want to change this in which case, for the sake of this question, I'm going to say no. Format Painter, so I'm going to grab this right here, and I'm going to apply it to everything underneath. And we'll go through that one more time, so it's kind of a complicated one. So I'm going to erase everything. And then let's just highlight this one section, apply the numbers without headers. And then Format Painter, I want to go ahead and number this sequentially, matching the order from above. And there you go. And it's because I erased all that formatting so that it doesn't recognize that this is a paragraph and this is a header. Now everything is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. If I were still using headers, there would be an indentation here, and there would be no alignment, or I'm sorry, there would be no number for every single line.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Thank you. The next question comes from Jason. Also, actually, a great question. How does he change the look or font of the actual Word menus that you have in Microsoft Word? So he said you have a friendlier interface than him. I think the interface changes by version or by computer operating system, but I think there are ways where you can actually customize the what you have on top, correct?
Yeah, it is. So mine, this is like the motherboard design up here. Just a couple of quick tips when it comes to your, it's called a ribbon menu. So up here is called your ribbon menu. And if you want to expand the ribbon menu, you click on any one section. So if you've ever like had something happen with your computer and this whole thing keeps disappearing on you and you'll have like a freak out, it's just because it's not pinned. So I personally like the ribbon expanded all the time, so I pin it there. And then if you want to customize this top version, you can actually go into your account settings, which would be, clicking on your name up here, and then it gives you your account settings, and it goes into all of these different, I can pick, and you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, I can do calligraphy, I can do, there's actually one really, really pretty one with like birds, you can do water, so yeah, see, I mean, there's a million different ways. You can also do dark gray, you can do black, you can do white, which just made my computer infinitely brighter, and clouds, and then now that menu option has changed.
Okay, awesome. And let's see, so this is actually a great question. Michael asked, I find that my normal style changes on its own from time to time. Why is that happening, and how do I stop it from happening? And that definitely happens to me too, I think, sometimes.
Yep, so that's a great question. When your Microsoft Word style, when you open up a new document, these are going to be your default settings, right? So what you see up here is going to be what you see every time you open a new document. And the only way that is going to change is if the source of the document that you're opening, so let's say that I go back into one of these other files that I have down here, each of these actually have their own set of styles that I have set up. Like my partnership agreements or my contracts have a very different font set than something that I would use for a letter. So if you're not working with a template, which is why it's important to take the time and set up these options where, I have literally, like a dozen templates here, and pin them to the front page, because this will govern what those fonts look like. If you're going into this blank one, then those are going to be your default settings. If you want to change your default settings, then all you have to do is say modify, and you can have this be your default. So you can even go in and go into like tabs and borders and numbering. So let's say that you need a template that does line numbering for court documents. You can have something for that. Setting these up to be what you want them to be is going to be the best way to save yourself time and not have those like fonts change from one to one. It's going to carry the formatting from whatever source. And I'll give you an example of this actually really quick. So I'm just going to highlight this and copy it. Watch what happens when I go into this new document and hit paste. See this control option on the bottom right-hand side?
Yep.
this is where it gets confusing because this thing only appears, I swear, it's like a trick. It only appears for like a split second. And as soon as you start doing something else in the document, it goes away. And so it carries all that formatting from the document that it just came from. These are your options. I can keep the source, which is like keep it exactly the way that it looked from where it came from. Merge it, which is going to apply that normal. See how the style up at the top of the page is highlighted? It's going to merge it and apply that normal style. It's going to say use the destination styles, which is going to apply that heading, or because these were all headings in the last document. And then keep text only, which is going to be the simplest one, closest thing that you can get to that magic eraser. So this menu only appears when you first paste it, and oftentimes we'll click away before we go into that section. So that gives you the ability to merge it into the document that you're working in.
Awesome. And what I do also, Chelsey, if you can click on the top left, you see where it says paste, there's a down arrow underneath it. So yeah, that's what I usually paste, and before I paste it, I usually just paste text only, so I don't get all the other weird formatting, and then I kind of format it afterwards as well. Another little way you can do it. All right, so let's see.
Great.
Next question, I think from Yara, hope I don't pronounce that wrong. She said, great webinar so far, thank you. You just did before a table of contents, and on the right-hand side it showed the page numbers. They were all one, though. How do you do auto numbering? So I think once you do a table of contents, Chelsey, you can click on the table and click update numbers, correct?
Yeah, so that happened because all of those, it was a one-page document, which is why that happened, actually. So this is the table of contents because all of those were located on the first page. So as soon as, if I move some of these,
does it automatically update the numbering? Because in my previous experience, I think I had to click update numbering.
It does, and actually I'm going to show you that in just a second. I'm adding a page break, so we split some of these out, which is in your insert menu. So we're going to add page breaks. Then you go here and you say update table, and you can say page numbers only, or if you have changed some of the text in your headers, update entire table, and now 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. And so will that automatically update if I change pages, or I have to always click update, update, update?
You have to manually, yeah, you can right-click and do it from here, which it says update field, or I'd like to just use this menu and say update, and I just always default to the entire table, because then if I've corrected like a spelling error or I have added information, it's going to add all of that. When you update page numbers only, there's not a guarantee that it's going to catch everything. And then you could have an outdated table of contents.
Got it. Okay, cool. And Jason had a follow-up question from how to change the top to look a little bit nicer or different. So he said he copied your settings for Circuit, but my ribbon font remained the same. So I think he really likes your look and font. Is there a way to change the font on top?
You know, I have never changed the font. I don't know what version you're using, because this is 2016 with Office 365. So as long as I've been on Office 2016, that's interesting. No, you know what though? It's a good follow-up for after.
Yeah, we'll Google it.
It could be, yeah, exactly. I'm wondering if it's mirroring my styles, actually. We will find out.
We'll find it, yeah.
We'll get that answer. Yeah.
Next question comes from Jan. Does this have an automatic paragraph numbering feature useful for court documents in some states, for example?
So, let's see. Okay. There is a line numbering feature, automatic paragraph numbering. So when you do paragraphs, like let's just say we've got these right here. You have these options, so article, section heading, you can use the ones that are built in, or you can define your own custom style, which is define new list style or define new multi-level list. where you can actually set up how you want that to be numbered. If you're talking about line numbering on a document, I have to remember where that is. There we go. It's in layout and then line numbering, and there's where your court document line numbers come from. So layout, line numbers. And then you have restart on each page, restart for each section, suppress for current paragraphs, so you remove it for those, and then advanced options, where you'll be able to come in and actually manage the whole document line numbers. And you can set this as your default, which is important, because if you're saving this as a template, like a court document template, you could set that as your default. So I'm not sure, I just needed to clarify if you were talking about individual paragraphs, which you can use the
he said
list library to do.
He said paragraph numbering. Just clarify
paragraph
that.
Numbering. I am going to double check that answer before we share it, and David, I'll email that to you to be sent to everybody.
No problem. All right, Jen, we'll email you after, don't worry. Next question comes from Scott. I'm surprised that Quick Parts and AutoText is not shareable. What about through any of Microsoft cloud services like Office 365? Nope.
Unfortunately, I wish I had a different answer, because it is fairly time-consuming to share that, but the closest thing that I've seen is a Word document circulated through a law firm where everybody has just opened it and saved each section to their Quick Part gallery. Unfortunately, it's not shareable, because it's not a feature that a lot of people really know about or use on a regular basis.
All right, so maybe if someone's listening, they can create a plugin and start charging for it.
Yeah, they should. I would buy that.
Yeah. So let's see.
or use your PracticePanther document creation tool.
Yes, exactly. So let's see, Nancy, I think this is the last question. So Nancy asked, how do you create a new numbering style? For example, I like to number 1, and then A, and then, stuff like that.
Okay, so back into, I'm just going to use a new one because this document's kind of messy. To do a new highlight the text, new list style, and here's where you can create all of those. So style 1, apply to your first level, and then you go into starting at 0 or starting at 1, and then second level, and then third level. So notice that you have options here. So you're going line by line. So if we went back up to first, it's going to start with a 1. We go to second, I want that one to be an A. Go to third, I want that one to be a 2 I's, Roman numerals. And then we go into fourth, and I can return. So you create this list style, and then either save it only in this document, or same thing with the templates above that we did earlier. You would say new documents based on this template, and save this as a Word template and pin it to your home screen in the file menu.
Okay.
And it'll say okay, and actually that one, yeah, okay. Go ahead, sorry, David.
Yep, no, that's awesome. I'm gonna use that for sure. And Nancy said thank you. And quick question, Nancy asked, how do you pin it? But I think you just showed us, right?
Yes. So if you want to find new number format, oops, sorry. The second one over. Define new multi-level list. New list style, actually. New documents based on this template, and you can name this as custom. Set all of your settings, and then say OK. And it should give you, let's see, should be able to grab it right from here. List library or list style. then there's that custom.
Awesome.
Which doing live, yeah. I'll send you a help document for that one too.
Okay, no problem. Okay, that's it for now. Wow, that was amazing. And if anyone has any more questions, Chelsey, pull up your the contact info on the PowerPoint. They can always just email us back or email me directly, david@practicepanther.com. I can always forward it to Chelsey, or Chelsey's email is there actually as well, chelsey@lextechreview.com. So Chelsey, we didn't get a chance to ask you before, but everyone's still on the line. So tell us what's Lex Tech Review and how do you help attorneys out?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Lex Tech Review is a home for technology reviews where I basically serve as a translator. So I explain what different software solutions can do for your law firm, what practice areas they apply to, and really the wow features or really, really powerful tools inside of the things that we use every day that can help you be more efficient or make more money. Including there's a recent write-up of PracticePanther on there with some of my favorite features that have been found inside. I encourage everybody to check that out. And if you do have any questions, there's a contact form for me there. I post almost every single day, and there's some videos of other sessions that I've taught, such as email marketing for law firms or Microsoft Word classes, or lots of material there.
Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, well, thank you so much once again, and thank you for everyone for joining us. This webinar was recorded, so we will email to you shortly. And if you can't wait, it's also on Facebook Live right now. You can go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/PracticePanther, and you can watch it there as well. And that's it. So, Chelsey, thank you once again for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you so much, David, for having me, and everybody for sharing their afternoon.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.